Welcome everyone. I am excited tonight. One of my favorite people in this mission for liberation of Black women is back with us, and she has been very busy. You might have seen her on these YouTube streets over the past couple of weeks because she is in the last week and a half push talking to all of us about freedom and job liberation, and a great summit that I am excited and blessed to be a part of this year. I think this is the second year, correct, Dr. Kamani? Yeah, the second year. So we'll talk more about the summit in a second, and we have a little surprise for you. So please stay. We have a little teaser or video happening in a little bit. So don't leave early. Let me introduce myself first because I always forget to do that. Hi, everyone. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. And on this channel, I'm dedicated to talking all things related to wellness, travel, and money from a cultural perspective, from a Black woman's point of view. And I guess because of some of the conversations that I've had in the past, Dr. Kamani and I have crossed paths. And when I listen to her speaking, she is exactly what I aspire to be, like going full throttle to get us to liberation and freedom, because it does exist. I'm currently in Mexico right now as a early retiree, because freedom does exist as long as you have someone to support you, to get you there, you have a community backing you, and you make smart strategic moves. And Dr. Kamani can help us all do that. So the topic tonight is all about job insecurity. I don't know how many of you are aware of the stats, but let's just be clear. Some of us may have grown up with parents where they knew after 30 years, they retire, get their pension, and go off and start traveling and live an amazing life. Well, unfortunately, that is not that is not in the cards for our generation and generations that are coming behind us. These jobs are no longer safe, and we need to plan. And I think tonight's conversation will help some of us get to that planning stage, and making sure that we stay ready, as we like to say here on this channel. And so without further ado, I'm actually going to turn it over to Dr. Kamani. For those of you that haven't seen her or haven't met her already, can you just give us an introduction of who you are and what your commitment to the community is, and what some of your immediate plans are?
Yes, thank you first, Kim. And hello, Gym Nation. I'm joining often in the chat, listening to Kim. So it's good to be here today again. My name is Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist of over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. And I'm so excited to share that I'm a co-host again with Marissa Price of the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women coming up May 16th. Kim is one of our phenomenal speakers. And I also have a YouTube channel, Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. And it's for any Black woman who is dealing with a challenging work situation. I talk about my own experiences as a toxic job survivor. I have other Black women talking about it. We talk about the healing journey. And I also provide resources because I don't want any of us to think that we're alone and having these toxic jobs. But I also want us to know that we have agency, we have choice, and there's resources available for us to seek freedom and liberation.
We have agency, we have choice.
Yes.
Always remember that. Don't let these jobs keep you stuck, keep you shackled, thinking that you don't have agency and choice over your life and over your decisions. And also understanding that liberation, when they're ready to liberate from you, right? They don't hesitate. When they are ready to say, thank you for your service. Unfortunately, budgets have been cut. They don't hesitate. They don't shed a tear, but we often struggle. We often struggle knowing that we are in pain. We are not well, having health issues because of this job, but we remain super loyal.
Right.
Unfortunately, if you have not been paying attention to the news, there is no more job security. There is specifically a shift that is happening, a transformation that is happening in this country. It's been happening for a little while, but it's becoming more and more rampant as we speak. We've seen it all over the news. Federal agencies are being decimated. People who have had 30 years on a job are getting their walking papers. And this has never happened before, or at least in our lifetime, let's just say.
Right.
And so the reality of job insecurity is real. And so I want to ask you first, Dr. Kamani, from your perspective as a toxic job liberator, I love that phrase. What changes have you observed in how Black women are experiencing job insecurity?
Well, unfortunately, we're often the first to go. So you will see things happen and we're the first to go, even though we work very hard in these work environments. And so it really shatters what many of us, especially Gen X and baby boomers, we have been told that you get that good job, good government job, and you stay there. And as you said, Kim, many of us are experiencing things, particularly those in the government, where their jobs are being just wiped out. So all of those notions that we were brought up with about a sense of safety and security, it's not there anymore. Also, what I'm hearing is for women who are still working, not the ones who are laid off, the ones who are still working, I'm hearing about people becoming more emboldened in the workplace and just dealing with the increased level of microaggressions and hostility in the workplace. So again, it makes you feel like they're trying to push you out in many ways, and many times they are trying to push you out. So it's important, as you say, Kim, which I love, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So for us as Black women, we see the writing on the wall, we see what's going on in the news. So this is the time for us to really prepare and get all of our plans together. Plan A, B, C, and D. We need to get our plans together because we see there's no job security at this point.
You talked about the microaggressions. You talked about people becoming more emboldened, right? And showing a side of them that always was there, but they, they had to hide before because of ramifications. But those types of, that type of aggression towards a worker who may be your subordinate, or they may be your subordinate, or you may be their subordinate, but the lines have gotten so blurred, right? And that can actually lead to emotional and psychological effects, right? And I can't even imagine. Well, I can. So quick side note, last night was the graduation for our 28-day accountability challenge, right? It's a challenge where women get together and we have goals that we often set. 6 months later, we haven't even started on them. Well, this is a jumpstart, an expedited way to get those things checked off your list. Well, one of the students, she recently started a job, and she talked about how her one level up from her literally went off on her as if she was a 5-year-old child, talking to her like she was a 5-year-old child. But I'm bringing that up because she was so emotionally stressed out, and she may be in the chat. And if you are in the chat, you could go ahead and shout yourself out. But that leads to all types of issues, from anxiety to depression, right? What physiological effects are most common when you see or you've seen people experience those microaggressions or the overt racism that is happening now?
Yeah, well, there's a range of physical and psychological symptoms that you can experience. But when something like that happens, many times you're like, this is traumatic. So it kind of shocks your body. And so you go into this fight, flight, or freeze, like what's happening here? And so from that traumatic experience, you can develop hypervigilance. So now you're jumpy all the time. You're kind of anticipating that this is going to happen again. You can have anxiety. So worry, is this going to happen again? What's this going to look like? What does this mean about my job? You're thinking about that a lot at home. So now your sleep might be impacted. So you're thinking about not only what happened at the job, but also you might be beating yourself up. Why did I let that woman talk to me like that? Why did I let that person talk to me like that? Why would it? I should have said da. So now it's messing with your sleep and you think about it all the time. And then you might have the anger about what happened, the anger about how you did not respond, and it turns inward into depression. So now you're starting to feel sadness, you're tearful, social isolation, you don't want to be around other people. So there's a range of different things that can happen to you. And when something like that, which is deeply humiliating and demeaning and degrading to happen, in an attempt to really kind of put you in your place as a Black woman, like, how dare you, Black woman, I'm put you in your place. So when that happens, you have to think about in the workplace, the psychological safety in the workplace has been compromised. So if you think about the workplace, which is a microcosm of society, we don't feel safe in this environment right now. So we're all on this like high alert right now. We're high alert. And so when we're high alert, we're in survival mode. So just to break it down in terms of biologically, what that might look like is in our brain, we're perceiving when things are dangerous. And evolutionary, we've had to do that. So danger, we need to save ourselves, right? What do you need to do? But what's happening right now is the workplace and the job, we might perceive that this is a dangerous situation. So what happens in the brain is our amygdala perceives that information and says, uh-oh, we're in danger. So then there's that fight, flight, or freeze, fawn response. When that happens, we either fight the people, try to fight, we freeze, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. We fawn, we do whatever we can to try to make things better. We don't want to cause any waves, or we try to run out. Okay. None of those things really help us. None of those survival things help us. When we're in that fight, flight, freeze, a fawn response, now our prefrontal cortex, we can't access it because we're in fight, flight, or freeze, fawn mode. So our prefrontal cortex, that's where we plan, we organize, we have judgment, right? So if you think about, if you're in that situation where somebody's screaming at you, humiliating you, you're just like, I'm just trying to brace. I'm just trying to brace right now. You can't even think about, you know what? That was messed up what that person did to me. And I'm going to start making my exit plan. You can't even plan. You can't even organize. You can't even, your judgment is off because you're in crisis mode right now. And many, many, many of us are in crisis mode. So the hope is that your community, my community, we have different spaces where we as Black women can come together. We're in a safer environment. We can turn down that survival brain and access our prefrontal cortex so we can plan, organize, and utilize our judgment.
And I forgot to add that she's over 50 and has not been yelled at like that for decades, and it was her parents that were last to do that. And so to have experienced that, I was actually shocked. And I think one of the recommendations that I gave to her, because I wanted her to like cool down, you could tell it was really emotionally draining. And one of the books that, I adore is called The Four Agreements. And one of the agreements is to never take anything personal, right?
That part.
Yes. And so whatever that yelling was had nothing to do with you. People just don't normally respond like that. Let's just say there was an error made. Let's just say you were late submitting something. That is not the normal human response. No. So that was the only advice that I could give her, because I was actually my ears were steaming for her.
And I just want to say to her, if she's listening right now, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That was very traumatizing. I'm hoping that you're getting the support you need, and that, again, you're in community so you can turn on the survival brain and start exit planning. That is not a safe environment for you. It's not a safe environment for you, because it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again and again and again. And that can really erode your self-esteem in that environment. And then you start beating yourself up. Like, dang it, why did I tell that person? I can't believe I did that. But the self-forgiveness is you did what you could do in that moment because you knew you're in danger. So I want to say to you, even if you responded, that's all good. It's all good. Now start thinking about what your exit plan is.
And I do believe that a lot of times Black women, we are told to suck it up and, you're strong, but, you're strong. Our ancestors put up with worse than that, working in the fields. We hear all of these things that I understand the reason behind it, right?
Yeah.
But I also am like, no, we have to break these chains. This is not normal. Yes, in the fields, that was one thing, but we are not in the fields.
Right? Okay. Can we pause there for a moment? Right. Yes. So that is a way to keep us stuck, right? So that's an example of like mental enslavement. So we are stuck in the notion of all jobs are going to be like that. We just got to deal with it. Our ancestors dealt with it. We should do it. Look, we are not in the same position as our ancestors were. They went through all of that. So we don't have to be that way. So what a disservice to them, what a dishonor to them to say, oh, well, they did it. We should keep doing what they did. They would not want that for us. They would not want that for us. And can I add something else? Because you brought up the 4 agreements. I'm so glad you did, because I reread that again. I reread that book again. And, when you think about when people project that level of venom for you, that is a reflection of their own insecurities, right? So my dear friend Colette Elizabeth talks about this, and I love this quote she said. She said, in the workplace, look out for people who are deeply insecure, incompetent, immature. That is what that person was. So they're projecting that onto you, and they want you to receive that, right?
I need to type that. I'm sorry. So insecure, say it in the order you said it again.
Yes. Deep-seated insecurity. Immaturity and incompetence. And they're projecting that onto you. So be able to, like as Iyanla Van Zandt says, call a thing. I don't receive that. I'm not receiving that. That's your stuff. That's not my stuff. But now that you show me your hand, I need to start making plans to get out of here because it's not a safe environment for me.
So I just put that in the chat because if you're seeing this on the back end, write it down. If you come into contact, run. You may not be able to run right then and there, but plan, start, practicing, start training on how you are going to get out there. And I know firsthand that insecurity and incompetence, you will never win.
Never.
If they don't get help, you will never win.
Exactly. And the thing about it, as Black women, we know to even get these jobs, so we have to be overly qualified. So we see right now in the government, people who are, I wouldn't even say mediocre at best. They're not even mediocre. Okay. The people in the government, they're not even mediocre at best, but they get these jobs, they fail. And guess what happens? They fail forward. They get promoted. So that happens in a lot of our job environments where people are failing forward. They're incompetent, insecure, immature. They fail forward, but we have to be twice as hard to get half as much. So when we recognize that you're in that environment, you need to pay attention to that and start making exit plans. And I'm saying this because people say, well, all jobs are like that. No, well, what's the point? No, not all jobs are like that. And we have other options. You can have a side hustle. You can create your own business. Yes. Not all jobs are like that. Don't tell yourself to settle. That's settling.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, when they are ready to get rid of you, it doesn't matter how many hoops you jumped through, how many backflips you did, how many awards you have won.
No.
They will write that pink slip, say thank you for your services, and not even a gift, right? But meanwhile, you're carrying all this internal stress and strife because of, how you've been treated. And so again, I can't wait to get to the part where we talk about your upcoming summit. Yeah. But first, I just really wanted to share why we thought this was a great conversation to have, because of course we see in the news, right, what's happening, what is going on with the job market, not just in the public sector with federal, but in the private sector too. We see layoffs after layoffs, retail stores closing, different types of corporations that have been around for for hundreds of years are folding, and there's a reason why. And I see some people in the chat. If you have a question, go ahead and put a Q in front of it so we can see it, we could spot it easy. And I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat for it, in a minute. But I first wanted to ask you to do this assignment, because it's not just the news that, we're hearing this. Go ahead and ask ChatGPT what the future of the job market is. And I'm going to read to you a prompt, and you could rewatch this, you could write it down, or you could create your own prompt, simple prompt. And then I'm going to read to you the responses. And this is why this conversation is so important now, because there's no getting around what is going to happen in the next 10 to 20 years. So the prompt is, hello, what does the future of the job market look like over the next 10 to 20 years as it relates to retirement, pensions, and the 30-year career, which was like a benchmark for people usually to retire, right? And so the second part of that, it says, what are some unexpected changes that may occur and the reasons why Americans should no longer rely on cushy job packages? And just listen to what, Cousin Chat said. It says, hello, the future of the job market over the next 10 to 20 years is expected to shift dramatically, especially around retirement, pensions, and the traditional 30-year career path. Here's a breakdown of the likely and unexpected changes, along with why Americans can no longer rely on the once common cushy job package. The future of retirement, pensions, and the 30-year career, where there's a decline of that traditional model. A stable job with one company for 30 years ending in a pension was yesteryear. Now, careers will be non-linear with frequent job changes, side hustles, career pivots, and gig work. Why? Because of automation, AI, global labor competition, and changing business models. Retirement age is creeping up. This is part 2 of that. Social Security's financial pressures and longer life expectancies are pushing the expected retirement age into the late 60s or even 70s. Like, where they do that at? Like, why is 70 something even talked about as retirement age? But this is the path we're heading in. It also says many older adults will work part-time or freelance into retirement, either by choice or necessity. Number 3, pensions are basically extinct. Defined benefit pensions are nearly gone in the private sector, replaced by 401ks and self-directed retirement accounts. This shifts the risk from employer to employee, requiring individuals to manage their own financial futures. Now, I'm going to put together a document. I'll make it, all you have to do is click the link so you can read the response, but you can also do your own research with ChatGPT. But it also talks about how AI and automation will decimate or redefine middle-class jobs, not just factory or repetitive office jobs, white-collar jobs as well, including legal research, financial analysis, and even writing or being reshaped or reduced. People will need to retrain multiple times throughout their lives. So if you're in your 50s now, you may have 20 more years in a corporate job before you can even think about retiring, right? And that may mean multiple changes. And we all know how ageism and being aged out of certain jobs is a real thing. And it also talks about health insurance benefits becoming unbundled. It talks about the gig economy will go white collar. Also, remote work will change retirement geography, which is something that I think, it says people may retire earlier or semi-retire abroad to stretch dollars thanks to the normalization of remote work and geo-arbitrage. But it talks about the jobs disappearing, the market volatility, self-reliance is the new norm, systemic risk, short-term employment trends, and we can add racism to that, right? Let's just, as Black women, go ahead and add racism to that. And it gives suggestions on what people can do to adapt. But that's what the Job Liberation Summit is for. And so we can talk more about that in a second. So that's just to underscore the fact that no matter if you think your job is in jeopardy today, you may think you're safe today. You may think you're good today. A month from now, that may completely shift. A year from now, that may completely shift. But the trajectory is that you will not be at that job for 30 years and retire with a nice pension or cushy package. And so this is why I think this conversation is very important. And I think even more so, the upcoming summit is very important. And I think, you know what, now may be a good time we'll get back to the questions and people's questions, but I think now may be a good time to showcase the video. So do you want to kind of set this up, Dr. Imani?
Yes. So we're going to show a video of the majority of the Black women speakers for the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit. So Marissa and I are so filled with joy to share this with you about the summit. So again, it's a commercial, it's a trailer of the Black women speakers and what you're going to get out of coming to the summit. Did we lose Kim? Okay.
Are you a Black woman who is looking to make your pivot from a job that's not serving you?
What's happening to them is not the result of unconscious bias. That's a bunch of unconscious BS.
I didn't deserve any of it, and you don't either.
If you've ever been overlooked, boxed in, underpaid, or underestimated, or told to wait your turn, the people that are working together to destroy your career know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, you can't heal in the environment that harmed you. You got to pick up your feet and leave.
We have been led to believe that we have to shrink ourselves to fit into systems that weren't built for us in the first place.
You know, unfortunately, as Black women, a lot of us experience many toxic work environments.
And it does more than just drain our energies. It actually challenges our very essence.
The Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women is for you.
It's Prill, and I am honored to return as your moderator for the 2025 Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women.
Katrina Marie here, also known as the Boss Chick Biz Coach. I am here to resuscitate your life and your dreams.
Hey, it's Dr. O'Shea, the Dr. Rethinking.
This is Halisi. I am the co-founder of Our Black Utopia.
I am Kim with the Gems.
Last year, over 300 Black women gathered for what I can only call a moment.
In the session that I'll be facilitating with liberation and longevity, we're going to be ensuring wellness beyond the toxic workplace.
And I'm going to be talking about how to get your money right so you can leave that toxic job.
We went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. I will be talking to you about how you can get your financial act together.
How to maximize your income by leveraging your talent.
I'm Janice Sutherland, CEO of This Woman Can and career strategist for the mature Black woman.
I'm Giovanna Mae Reese, founder of the Hiatus Space, where I help ambitious women set boundaries, reclaim their energy, and live with clarity.
I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist of over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator. And I'm co-hosting with Marissa Price, the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women.
Risha Renice, and I am a multi-passionate and healing artist, as well as the founder of Black Girl Creative.
Rashni Cope, a certified life coach, helping Black and West Indian women create whole and healed lives that they love.
Pivot with power. Changing careers when you're over 50. A session designed specifically for Black women over 50 who are ready to reinvent their careers on their terms.
My session, Reclaim Your Breath, a stress relief toolkit for Black women. I am going to teach you how to take that instinctive sigh and turn it into a daily practice.
Afro yoga is a mix between African dance and yoga. There's so many things in this world that try to dim our light, and we're going to be doing Afro yoga in ways that protect our light and cultivates our light and really supports our healing.
I want to really dive into how we can recover our creativity, how we can even recover some of our dreams.
Vision Your Liberation will help you reconnect with the woman who is already free.
Hi, my name is Rashida Dow. I am a career break coach.
Anne-Marie of the Anti-HR Consultancy and the Anti-HR channel on YouTube.
Jasmine Williams-Jacobs, founder and director of Black Remote She, which is a community-driven job platform for Black, queer, trans, non-binary people and allies interested in working remotely.
I'm Patrice Williams-Lindo, CEO of Career Nomad and the creator of the RNA Method.
I'm Rashida James. I'm a senior career consultant at Black on the Job.
I'm going to tell you how to separate who you are from what you do.
How to turn that discriminatory, hostile work environment into the cash and the check that allows you to pursue your freedom.
We'll talk through some of the ways that you can identify workplaces that are having those centered policies that center anti-oppressive principles.
Rebrand and rise, building your personal brand for a bold career pivot.
Skills pay the bills because your knowledge, skills, and abilities, they're your currency. And it's time to make sure they are paying what you're really worth.
I'm Jackie Abram, international best-selling and award-winning author, the global toxic workplace consultant, employee advocate, helping Black women all around the world fight the discrimination they're experiencing.
I am Krishan Wright, the founder and chief freedom advocate at Blacksit Global and the host of the Blacksit Global podcast.
I'm Coach Yolanda, certified spiritual life coach and founder of the Evolved Community, an online sanctuary for Black women who are looking to do soul work.
I'm Marissa Price. I am a social worker helping Black women heal from highly traumatic workplace environments and reclaim their self-worth and authenticity.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Perry. I am the co-founder, co-creator of Exodus Summit and Exodus ASAP.
The warning signs that you need to know that lead to termination.
Passport to prosperity, how to make money anywhere.
I am pleased to join you to make sure that your minds are liberated.
How to take your power back, how to reclaim your skill set, rebuild your self-worth.
Black women, while you're working on these liberation practices, go ahead and quit that job too.
I was able to say goodbye to corporate America 20 years before they told me that I should be able.
It's never too late. It is never too late.
You're not lost. We are here. Break free from those golden handcuffs, honey.
Reclaim your value.
If you have a desire for it, there's already a version of you that has it.
It's not about starting over. It's about starting wiser.
It's not simply an event. It is a sanctuary, a movement.
Community is waiting for you. New opportunities are waiting for you. A new horizon is waiting for you.
It is your time to shine.
Your liberation is not just possible, it's divine. And it's waiting on you.
If you would like to attend completely anonymously, that is your right to do so. We look forward to you joining us at the 2025 Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women, May 16th through 18th. Register now.
And I hope I see you turning in that letter of resignation. Or girl, just leave, right?
That is Stephanie Perry, y'all.
The liberator. Yes.
Exactly. Well, listen, so for everyone, that was my first time seeing the video, and I am just like in awe right now. I'm like, wow, that was, I feel like, you know, some people don't like the word, but when you talk Black excellence, this is what my definition of Black excellence is. It's women who are committed to liberating, telling their stories, making it, you know, visual aids is how people really understand. So when people see other people doing things, they believe it to be possible for themselves. And so I am completely like floored by that presentation. It was so well designed, so well put together. And you know, can you just summarize? I know there was quite a few speakers in that. Can you summarize the 3-day summit so that people can understand exactly what will happen over those 3 days?
Yes. Okay. So again, the Job Liberation Virtual Summit starts May 16th. So it kicks off with Coach Yolanda to really ground us in the moment. So as Black women, we are all busy. So kind of to slow down and to really prioritize ourselves and kind of get centered for the summit. And then the next 2 days, these are all day, right? So it's recorded. So if you're not able to come to the all day, it's recorded. So you're hearing from other Black women talk to you about not only the mindset hurdles that kind of keep us stuck at jobs that don't serve us, or if you've been laid off. I think about the federal workers, Black women federal workers. If you've been laid off, what's the mindset that you need to be in? So you can turn on a survival brain and start planning and organizing and utilizing your judgment about what your next steps are. A lot of the sessions deal with not only centering yourself and taking care of yourself, because we need to be well, but it also talks about ways to connect to our joy and our dreams. I see Alicia Renice is here right now. So Alicia's going to be talking about ways to connect to our creativity, and also how to take a career break if you're able to do so. What to do about your resume. If you're like, you've left a job or you're about to leave, how do you spruce up that resume? A lot of our sessions, including yours, Kim, deals with, I'm gonna have you tell what you're gonna talk about, but a lot of the sessions deal with, for us as Black women, how do we replace our income? Because that's the main issue that keeps us stuck at these jobs is, I don't know how to replace my income. I don't want to end up homeless. What am I gonna do about my health insurance, my retirement? So a lot of the sessions give practical tips about ways that you can replace your income. So side hustles, Liberia Jones is going to be talking about remote work. What does that look like? So what are all of our different options for replacing our income? And we have anti-HR lady, Emery Archer, talking about issues of discrimination and severance, and prepare yourself if you're going to try to get some coins before you go. And then we have bonus sessions. So we have the 2 full days. I'm also going to do an Afro-Flow Yoga virtual session. I'm in the process of becoming an Afro-Flow Yoga teacher. So we're going to have an Afro-Flow Yoga session because trauma is in our bodies and in our minds. So how do we release that so we can fully be present? So we also have bonus sessions. So the 16th to the 18th are the summit dates. And then we have 3 bonus sessions as well. So we have Janice Sutherland, who's going to be talking to Black women 50 and over. So generally when you get to about 50, you think that, oh, I can't stand this job, but I got to stay until I retire. I can't move now because I'm too old to move. I'm too old to do stuff. That's not true. Not true. Okay. So she's going to talk about options for Black women 50 and over. And then we have Jackie Abram, who will be talking about when you're still in that work environment, what are the ways you can survive as you're creating your exit plan? Because most of us can't just up and go, even though you want to. There's a process generally. So what do you need to do to survive as you're there to protect yourself? And then we have Dr. Roche Brown, who's a Black woman financial psychologist. We were on together before on your platform. So Dr. Roche Brown, Black woman financial psychologist, whom I work with to get my financial exit plan to go. She's going to be talking about ways to create that financial exit plan on your timeline based upon when you want to go. Nobody's telling you when to go. It's based upon when you're ready to pivot out, or if you've already pivoted out, what are some financial things you need to know? Yeah. And she's going to be talking about what to do about your retirement, what to do about your health insurance. So those are the bonus sessions. So there's different tiers of tickets. So there's the tiers where you can come to the summit only. You get the replays, access for a few days, like May 21st, I think it is. And then you have the highest tier where you get to come to the summit. You get the replays for a year because it's going to take a while. You see these speakers, right? It's a lot of speakers, a lot of information. You have more time to digest everything, go back as you're exit planning. And then you can have the bonus speakers, the replays. You have a discount over the 2024 summit. So it provides more information and time for you to kind of really sit and digest it. Now, I also want to say this, as a privacy consideration, no summit attendees will be seen on camera. You will not be seen on camera. Your names will not be listed, okay? Because I know as Black women, we are private. We don't want people in our business. Nobody will know you're there. If there's a question or comment that you want to make, you can change your name in the platform. So don't let that keep you. Your fears about people finding out, don't let that keep you from coming. Okay. Right. So this is all Black women who are top of their field. They've all gone through things. They all know this information. They're sharing it with you. So it's an easier way. It's a shortcut, like a blueprint. So you're not trying to figure out on your own, do I do this? Do I do that? I don't know. So you can do that, and it's just a streamlined process for you to exit plan.
So there's so many things I love about what you said, and I just want to underscore 2 things. One, the consideration that you came up with to keep this a private summit, right? With people already nervous about their job status, not knowing who's in the room with them. And all it takes, and I don't even call them haters, like jealousy, insecurity, all of the things you listed before, you don't know who's in there that could try to come after your job. So I so admire and appreciate that level of detail with the summit. I also appreciate the fact that you have broken it up. Like I'm not going to restate everything you said, but the different conversations. It's not just about leaving, right? It's not just about, you got to go and leave the country now. It's not.
There's different options.
Yes. And that's what, we are a varied people. We need options. Not everybody wants to leave the country. Not everybody wants to live a soft life, right? But there's different levels at every stage that you want to be in. You just don't have to suffer, right? That's what we want to liberate you from.
Amazing. Yeah. You can go to another job if you want to. Hopefully it's not another toxic job. We're going to talk about that. Go to another job. You can create your own business. You can have a side hustle. You can have a mix of all those things. So again, this is for all Black women. I don't care what your profession is, your education level, where you are in the world. Last year, we had over 300 Black women in attendance from all over the world, over the world. And so what are you going to share at the summit, Kim? What are you going to talk about?
First, let me share that please go ahead and sign up. And the link in the description, if you use that is my link. They will know that it is Gym Nation signing up. We are coming in full force, but go ahead and sign up and register. And the other thing I wanted to say is that, yes, there is a replay option where you can watch for a couple days, but knowing the trajectory of where we are headed, this is something, if you can, now I'm not saying everyone can, but if you can get what's the name of the other package?
The All Access Freedom Pass, the Freedom Pass.
The Freedom Pass. If you can get the Freedom Pass, trust and believe you're going to want it, because those days are going to go by so quick. You're not going to be able to retain all of the information that you hear. So you want to be able to go back. And I'm not saying this as a salesperson. I'm saying this as someone who buys lots of summits. I am involved with multiple summits, especially if I believe that they can be valuable. And so, so what is my session about? So my session takes place on Sunday, May 18th. Can't believe we're in May already. May 18th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. And the topic is how to maximize your income by leveraging your talents. And I am a firm believer. I know this to be true. No one can tell me any different. That we have all been bestowed certain talents that we are sitting on, that we are not monetizing like we should, and we are giving things away for free that we should be charging for. And to refer back to the 28-day accountability challenge that we just our graduation just took place last night. The women in there, when I tell you last night, they were so surprised at themselves. Each and every one of them had a goal to start generating additional income monthly. Now, it was different levels of amounts, but they all walked away with a product based on their talents that they can put into the marketplace. And stay tuned, because I will be interviewing them, I think starting next week and once a week for the next few weeks. So that's what I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing how you can dig a little deep. I'm not saying you have to do, you don't have to go see any psychiatrist or anything like that, but there's certain questions that you need to ask yourself to figure out what it is that you want to do and what it is that you've really been doing, right? All this time that you can parlay and convert into a revenue generating gig side hustle. As we heard, that's the future, right? So even if you are staying at your job, one source of income is not the move. That is not where we are living in 2025. There is this quote that I love. It's one of my favorite quotes, and it was on everybody's certificate last night. But I want you, Black women, my sisters, to start living life like everything is rigged in your favor. Like, stop settling, stop thinking small, stop thinking that, oh, this may fail. No, start thinking when this succeeds, right? Because the universe is, it's rigged in our favor. Everything that we want is rigged in our favor. A lot of times we are the ones that are stopping those things from entering our life. And so I welcome you to join me during that session if you're interested in generating additional streams of income, but using your talents. Like, not because you saw a video and you want to learn, somebody told you AI is the future, but you've never picked up a computer. Like, you don't know much about AI and you don't know if that's a passion, but figuring out based on your personality type, based on whatever skills you have, and based on happiness, right? That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate. You want to build community. Do you want to be in a silo? Like, there's so many questions that we'll answer through this process. And so I'm excited to share, because that's what I did. That's how I was able, and I don't even call it retire, because I work when I want to. Like, I still consult with companies, but I'm glad that I did go on this journey, because if you don't know, my story is my story and my career is 99% in multicultural sales and marketing. Well, guess what? Multicultural is a word that is now being banned in the federal government.
Yes. Attacked, right?
It's on the list, like, of words that they are removing from almost every federal document. And that's going to spill over to other companies as well, private sector. So I'm glad that I was able to start this process early, but it wasn't because of any other reason. That I looked and I said, I've been doing this for this corporation for almost 20 years. Making this corporation a whole bunch of money.
Right. Right.
And not that I'm complaining about my salary, but I'm like, if I would have started doing consulting at this level. So saying all that to say, we all have talents, we all have gifts, we all have passions. And it may be something as, and I don't want to call it simple, but as what it may be like a hobby. So if you enjoy cooking, maybe it has something to do with that. So we'll figure that out together. And I invite you to join us at the 2025 Job Liberation Summit for Black Women starting May 16th. Get your tickets, link in the chat. I see a question here. So before I get to some of my questions for you, Dr. Kamani, Antoinette wants to know, what do you recommend to say when a boss or someone yells at you in front of others? Okay, because the last time it wasn't in front of you. The question that I brought up before was somebody, it was just one-on-one, but Antoinette wants to know if it happens in front of people. What
So I want you to be wise in how you respond to this. And I would suggest that you consult with either an employment attorney or the anti-HR lady, because when something like this happens, you need to prepare for how you respond in a way that if you decide to leave with severance, that you have some leverage, okay? So I would consult with an employment attorney or the anti-HR lady, because what you don't want to do is just go to HR and say, so-and-so yelled at me and it made me feel da-da-da-da. No, okay? You need to be prepared as you're going into HR. What are the exact words that you say so that they know, she is serious. We can't just dismiss her, because if you go to HR, they would have already talked to whoever it was that yelled at you, they would already talk to that person, okay? And so be prepared. So as you go into HR, you know exactly keywords of what to say, and you are clear about what is it that you want by going to HR. So I would say to you, please consult with someone who has expertise in that area. I don't want to advise you about what to do, because that's not my area of expertise. So please consult with, again, either an employment attorney or actually, this Sunday, I'm going to have on my YouTube channel a Black woman labor and employment attorney. So come to my live. Come to my live and ask her that question, please. Okay.
And what time?
So
What time on
it's going to
Sunday?
be 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel, Lifting Us with Climb Consulting Wellness Services. So please come there and ask her that question, because I don't want to advise you on that. So you can get some free advice, free information. Come to the live this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
And the link to Dr. Kamani's YouTube channel is in the description now as well. You could go ahead, click there, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you know you're on every Sunday, right?
Yes,
Correct?
every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, great. If you do have a question, I don't see any more Qs, but if you have a question, put a Q in front. And I just wanted to also remind people that it does not take age to retire, it takes money.
Oh, I like that.
And that was a direct quote from Hakeem Webb, who is our financial guru, our wealth advisor, who's part of our community. And it's true. And the money depends on a lot of factors, right? So like you may be living in New York today, right? And it may cost you $7,000 a month to live the way you want to live, but that you could cut that in half and go someplace else and do something that you would want to do and retire before 50, 60. I don't know anybody that wants to work till they're 70 years old. I don't care how much you love your job. The fact that you have to ask somebody for time off, the fact that you have to ask somebody, can you know, if you have hospital visits and stuff like that, that's shackles. That is shackles.
It is.
So I want all of us to start thinking more on how we can liberate ourselves sooner than later. Now, I do have another question for you, and I wanted to know, because a lot of times, you know, we wear capes, right? We take care of our parents, we take care of our children, some are taking care of our grandchildren. What type of conversations can we think about having with our families as we are proactively trying to liberate? Like how, because not everybody's going to get it, right? And that's a fear that a lot of us, I think, harbor. Like, I don't want to let anyone down, but what type of conversations should we start having so that we get people on our side and not feeling like, you know, we're letting people down?
Oh, that's heavy. Okay. So what I want you to remember first is that you are living your own life, right? It's less important about what other people think about you. You are living this life, okay? So when you talk to other people around you, you kind of already know how they feel about you leaving that job, because they probably have said something before. So when you complained about it or you said something about it, they'll be like, oh, girl, I know. My job is like that too. And there's like some trauma bonding here. So if you start saying something like, yeah, but, you know, I'm thinking about quitting this job. And if they say anything like, girl, what you doing? You better not leave that job. That's a good job with good benefits. What you doing, girl? You're not like us. I mean, you're not like other people, right? Not like they can up and leave, and we can't do that. What you doing, girl? What you doing? So if you have that, any type of reaction, that was a reenactment, right? If you have any type of reaction like that, then you need to pause and say, wait a minute. They are not going to understand. I'm telling you, they're not going to understand. So the more you try to explain it to them, the more they're revving up, because now you're telling them, and now they are fearful of what's going to happen because they can't even envision what that looks like. They can't even envision it, right? So then they're going to keep projecting their fears onto you, and they're going to double down. Girl, don't be stupid. I can't be going to do that. You're going to let them win. You're going to let them run you out of here. Getting you all riled up. Because you're already probably fearful, the thought of leaving. But then these people around you, they're projecting their fears. Now you're even more terrified. Right. So when you notice that, you have to use discernment and have boundaries with them, okay? I tell people, my mother did not want me to leave that good government job. She was not on board with that because she had a good government job. She retired. So she wanted the same thing for me. And she kept trying to commit. And I was like, okay, this is not going anywhere because she's going to keep trying to convince me. So I just stopped telling her. I didn't say anything else about that. I just pretend like things are okay. I just didn't think about it until I left. I think I left like 6 months. I had resigned after 6 months. And then I told her. right? Because I could not deal with her projecting her fears on me. I'm already terrified. I couldn't deal with that. So
Right.
for us to say, wait a minute, someone, not going to understand. So I'm not going to tell them anymore about this. But who are the people who do understand that I can be a community with, who can pour into me, who can support me? Because I'm already scared. I need people who can help support me because I'm fearful, not people who are going to stoke the fears. That's not helpful. And the shame and part, like all that's involved with leaving a job, is a major life decision, right? So if you're in therapy, that's very helpful as you're processing it. And if you're in a community with other people, and are you with people who can help lead you in the direction you're trying to go, right? So not people who are like, girl, don't go, and you look at them and they're miserable at their job. Like they're literally like, they hate that job. Don't listen to them. So I'm quoting Glam Mazzini. She said, check the tree before you pick the fruit. If they don't know what they're talking about, and to stay someplace, don't talk to them. Okay.
Right.
So the shame you might feel, it's normal. The fear you might feel, it's normal. But think about, what are the things that you are surrounding yourself with that are going to kind of decrease the fear and support you, or it's going to exacerbate the fear. You don't want things around you that are going to exacerbate the fear.
Right. Listen, I was cracking up because you don't know how many times in my life I heard that good government job with them good benefits. And it's so funny. Quick story. My family reunions, we would have it every 2 years in South Carolina. And, they would always pick the person who's in the FBI or the doctor or the lawyer, to be the keynote speaker. And when I was in college, I went to school for pre-law. I just knew I was going to be the next Thurgood Marshall, right?
Oh, wow.
But when I got to Howard, I got bit by the School of Communications bug. I did electives in there, and I just fell in love with the whole media, world of media. And so I ended up switching majors without telling my mother, right? I'm not going from pre-law to communications. When I finally told her, she was like, "Communa who?" Like, what is a communications degree?
What kind of job you gonna get with that, girl?
And so, she didn't make me change back, even though she was fronting the bill for college, right? But she was like perplexed. Like, what does this mean? So I had to share with her, like, people, like, what Oprah Winfrey does? She had a journalism degree. So I had to, but my mother was not saying, girl, you're going to be the next Oprah Winfrey. But it started making sense. I was like, she runs a whole company with people who got their degrees in communication. So she started thinking, well, maybe you're going to work with Oprah Winfrey. So she started understanding. But the rest of my family, oh no. It was like, why would you switch from pre-law? You should have been an attorney, this and that. Fast forward, I'll get the job at Essence, and I'm there for, almost a couple of decades.
Wow.
And every other year, they wanted me to speak at the family reunion. They didn't care that I didn't have PhD, that I was not, part of the civil service community. It was like, oh, you weren't. So anyway, so you just, like you said, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to get you. And if they're not in your immediate family, find them, because they're out there. Find communities that are out there, just like me getting my residency in Mexico. I have more people in my family and friend circle that's like, Mexico, why would you, the cartel, the whole, this and that. But I found communities where people were doing this. So similarly with the job liberation, and if it's time for you to make a move for whatever reason that is, but mostly because you want to be free, find people who are in that same headspace as you. Find people that you can communicate and they will understand, because a lot of us will stop in our tracks as soon as we hear two people saying, oh, you shouldn't do that. That doesn't make sense. You're going to this and that's going to happen. So I appreciate the fact that, you're building community like this. There's all of the speakers that we've, heard in the commercial, I'm sure have some type of community. So find communities and get in them however you can. A lot of them, it may just be on YouTube and you could communicate in the chat when they go live, but find community.
And when you said to Kim about be free, I just want everybody to hear this again, because this is what I noticed, like a mental block, but I think it's a fear response, right? So when I talk about job liberation and getting free and there's an automatic fear response where somebody is thinking, what you mean to just go out and just be okay and just not have a job? Like, we need to have a job. I'm like, that is not what I'm saying. No. So we are saying freedom can look different, liberation can look different, and still find ways to make money. We are not saying just be out here and just hoping that things are going to be okay for you. No, we're talking about creative ways to make money with multiple streams of income.
And I believe that people can be free while working. It just depends upon where you're working, how you're being treated, how much there's factors that come with that. So when we say free, it's you'll know when you're free, right? Yes. You will know when you're free or when you need to release some of the shackles. And I know more people who are shackled, and literally, especially, I'm gonna tell you when they found out during 2020, 2021, when they were considered essential workers, which just meant that they could not take off. They had to work double, triple, and I'm talking nurses, doctors, the whole medical field, right? And then others. And that's when you find out, I was never free, right? Yeah. Like the fact that I know someone personal, a registered nurse, worked for like 5 days straight wearing the same mask.
Ooh.
What type of protection was that? Well, she's still a nurse, but she's in a different area where she's no longer in the hospital.
Okay, good.
So people know. But let me get to some of the people who are in here, because y'all have been communicating. Hey, Julie, I see you are first as usual. Hi, Miss P. Miss P is finding her freedom, boy. I think Miss P, is moving to Mexico and retiring early too, if I'm not mistaken.
Congratulations.
Hey, Creative Flavor and Travel. I saw a comment that you made that I'm going to get to in a second, which I love. Hey, Casper, good to see you. Hey, Our Choice Hauling. This is one of our 28-day accountability graduates. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hi, Alicia Renee. Bernice Artist. I love your channel, girl. Love, love, love your channel. Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia, part of the Gym Nation family. E says, she's saying hi to Alicia. Oh, yes. Our Choice said it was a great course. I think you're talking about the 28-day challenge. I do those at least 4 times a year, so I'll announce that. Yes, Creative Flavor and Travel says, I'm in Cotero and the anxiety and worries have gone away. I go back on Monday. So I love that you said that. During our class yesterday, as soon as I got on screen, everybody was like, Kim, you're glowing. You are glowing. I'm like, wait a minute, I only been here 24 hours. What are you talking? But I do feel like so light. When I get up, I would go to the sunrise every morning on the beach. I pray, I meditate. I do all the things that I can't do in bustling New York City that I assume helps me get that glow. So I know Cotero.
You got that soul glow. I think about coming to America, right? You got that soul glow.
Listen, after this winter, I will take it, but I'm glad for you, Creative. Sorry you're going back Monday. I see the angry face, but
Can I say something real quick? Yeah. I hope that having that taste of freedom lets you know what freedom looks like and feels like, and that you feel that in your body and you remember that is what you're trying to go back to, right? Because when you go back into a work environment after you've had that taste of freedom, it helps you like, I do not. And sometimes that can activate you to even move out faster. So let's try to fuel and rechannel that energy as you go back into the workplace as a way to motivate you to kind of get that exit plan together so you can go back to that liberation and freedom.
Exactly. I mean, that angry face says it all, right? That you're not happy about. So we will hopefully you'll be able to make it to the Job Liberation Summit and learn some strategies and tactics. Listen, there's some real heavy hitters on that, on the list of speakers that have found a way and are living life on their terms, right?
Sure.
They have left corporate America, living in all parts of the world. And
even Jackie Abram, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kim. Even Jackie Abram, one of the bonus speakers, she will be talking about, just like what you're going back to the workplace. So she's going to be talking about how to survive while you're still there and creating that exit plan, right? Her session, Kim's session, in and of itself, Alicia's session, it's worth the price. Just those 3 women. And that's just 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And I'm gonna pat myself on it because you threw me in there, but no, agreed. I just think that learning how you can do it at the price that you're offering, it's such a, I don't want to say steal, but it is.
It's an investment. It's an investment in ourselves.
Right.
And it's very hard sometimes when we think about investing in ourselves, because sometimes we think about, I got this, I got this, I get this. But an investment is, there will be a return on your investment. Yeah. There will be an immediate return on your investment.
Everyone that I know that was part of the commercial, I know personally, still invest in themselves. Even the Stephanie Perrys, right? Yeah. Stephanie Perry is part of quite a few, well, I won't say quite a few, but I know a couple in particular. She has coaches, right? She has business coaches. She talks about Hello 7 all the time. Yeah. And so, you're part of Hello 7 too, right?
I was, yeah.
Oh, you were, okay. I wasn't sure. But yeah, so again, just understanding that you're never going to have all the answers, right? Mm-hmm. But there are people out there that can help you find them. And a lot of times we prioritize the wrong thing. So it will be a year. It's a year this month since I've had my nails professionally done. Wow. Now I am getting them done this month before my birthday, but it's for multiple reasons. I wanted to detox. I wanted to make sure, they said you could tell by your nails, like your health, right? Mm-hmm. And I ended up saving a gang load of money in the process. Like that was. So again, just thinking about the things we can cut out in order to elevate our lives, right? So at the price points that you have them, there's something you can cut out, a couple dinners, you can cut out a couple cocktails if you live in New York, and you can come to the session, up to the summit, sorry. Yeah. He says, great tip. Yes, remember y'all, deep-seated insecurity, immaturity, and incompetence, you're never gonna win.
Never.
And racism in that, but that's part
racism
of
that. Sexism.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sexism as well. It doesn't matter if you have an education.
No, it doesn't. Can I say something real quick, Kim?
Yeah.
This is the real mind F here, because what I have encountered, the Black women that I work with, as crazy as I don't know what, the more education you get, the more credentials that you get, the more you are a target in the workplace. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make sense, because what you're doing is you are triggering, not that you have done something, but these people are deeply insecure, incompetent, immature. They are triggered by that because that makes them feel less than. Okay. So your brilliance, even though they hire you because of your brilliance, they are so intimidated by it that they will do whatever they can to put you in your place. So yeah, so we might think, okay, let me get some more education. Let me get another credential. I'm telling you, it is so crazy. But the higher you go up, the more many times you have the target on your back.
Exactly. Oh, thank you.
Yes, she does.
Thank you so much. Delia's child is one of our graduates as well. Welcome tonight. Hey, Cheryl, PhD. Hey, JD. Good to see you all the way from California. Oh, well, you and Dr. Kamani are both in California. Yeah. It's not about starting over. It's about starting wiser.
Yeah.
Amen. JD says that is a powerful infomercial. Yeah, it was amazing. I was sitting here like, wow. Amazing. Yes. Yes. It was a great experience. Yes. Yes. Thank you guys. Now, all I need to see is y'all take off and my life is good. My life is golden. Yvette, my apologies for being late. I'm in the ER. Oh, for fitting that. Oh, Hakeem was right. Retirement isn't an age, it's a financial number. Exactly. I hope you feel better. Please, you're in my prayers, Yvette. I am so tired of asking for time off. Listen, and they act like they're doing you a favor by granting you leave.
Right.
You have earned. So over it.
Yes.
Can we get an amen and hallelujah?
For real.
Life, this was not how God did not want this life for us. He did not want us to work 360 days a year, get 2 weeks off, 14 days, maybe if you're lucky, 3 weeks. By the time I left, I had 6 weeks, but that still was not, and again, I was there almost 20 years, right?
Wow.
But then when you ask for time, they have a song and a dance as to why you
Let's get approved. Let's get approved.
Amen. Like this is now, listen, again, some people, this may not bother you, right? You may not mind having to ask people for vacation. If that's you, God bless you. But for most of us, why should that be up to you to have a final say? Especially if I'm producing, especially if I'm not, a problem child at work, so to speak, and you still, and that goes to like some of these nurses and doctors and all types, teachers who can't take off. Like it is just heartbreaking, and that's I'm trying to liberate people from that. So, but yeah, no, Miss P, you are so right about that. Antoinette says, "Thank you for answering the question." BA thought they told my mom the soil is not ready for her to be promoted, and it's been affecting me every day of my life. The soil is not ready for her to be promoted. That is literally a first, and I hope she acts accordingly. There's so much that I could think behind those words. But not knowing the scenario, I'm gonna just leave it there. So we got a couple hallelujahs, we got a couple amens from the pew. So I do have just a couple more questions, then I'm gonna let you go, Dr. Kamani. I know you have a busy couple weeks, or productively busy couple weeks, as you promote this. Fascinating. I just love, like, I would have never thought that we would get to a point in the world where a job liberation summit for Black women was so needed. Like, I know, working has always been like the bane of most people's existence, but now we are in such a bad state. We are in such a place where it's going to get worse before it gets better. And the fact, the timing for this, is so on point. It's so perfect.
Yeah. And when was the last time, Kim? I don't remember growing up hearing about Black women dying on the job. I don't remember hearing that. Like a few weeks ago, somebody sent me an article about a Black woman at the Social Security Administration dying at her desk. Right? So seeing and hearing about all these Black women dying at the job, I don't remember hearing anything like that. I don't ever remember hearing about a Black woman dying by suicide because of her job and workplace bullying. I don't ever remember hearing that. But now we are the age we're in right now.
Right. And imagine the stories we don't hear, right? Because I'm sure there are some that it will never make the news, especially because it's a Black woman, right? And what I also noticed when that last story came out, the vitriol in some of the comments from people about her weight, like just things, like it could not be that this Black woman was stressed out to the point her heart gave out, right? It was just, and you knew the people that were saying all these ugly comments, but that's where we are. There used to be shame in commenting like that, right? Once you release that shame, you're not putting that genie back in the bottle. Like
Right.
at least for the next 4 to 8 years. There is no reason for them to have any shame or any compassion for Black people, period. And like you said, it's a lot of that fear because a lot of times they just don't understand how we are just so amazing through all of the adversity that we face when we come to work every day. And the anger is just, it's just real, and it's at the forefront now, and we have to protect ourselves from that.
Sure.
But I did want to ask you if you could give Black women one message right now, right, about reclaiming their power, their gifts, all of the things that make us just amazing, right? Make us the chosen people. That's what I like to say, right? What could you say to Black women right now to, in these uncertain times, to get them to reclaim their power and to proceed in this nasty environment without giving up, without giving in?
Yeah. So we come from a people who have always known how to pivot, regardless of what. And we are in very different, even though these are scary times, we also have a lot of choice right now. So be able to utilize the skills that are available to you, the different resources that are available to you, what Kim is offering, what Marissa and I are offering. There are resources that are available to us that maybe were not available to us before. We have these resources. Now it is up to us, each of us watching, that our hand is open to receive it, okay? Let us not discount and say, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do it. Let us not go into that mode. If you start going into that mode of discounting opportunities that are coming your way to help you out of a situation, sit and ask yourself, why am I so resistant to this? Why am I just trying to stay in this mode? Am I in fight, flight, or freeze mode right now? Really interrogate what is happening for you. But I just want us to remember as Black women that we deserve better, that better is available for us. As Black people, we have always survived and we will thrive. We will thrive. Yet, we also need to utilize our choice and our agency, and it's going to take us making moves. We can't just sit and wait and just hope that things are going to be better, or just sit and hope like, okay, if I don't move, then I'm going to be okay. No, just like you say, Kim, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Okay. And we need, as Black women right now, more than any time ever, we need to have our plans ready. Yeah. So the summit is a way to get our plans ready so that whenever you want to make these moves, whenever, you will be ready. You're not going to be trying scrambling like, oh, what should I be doing? You will be ready on your timeline.
I want more for us than sitting around and letting things happen, because things are going to happen. That's the guarantee. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Things are going to happen. And those who properly prepare will fare much better than the ones that don't. So let us all properly prepare together. Like, let us all get in community and each one teach one. And then when you hear something, share that. Like, don't hold it in. Listen, I'm so passionate about this. In the description, there are 2 links this time. If y'all ever read my description, I probably have like 10 links. There are 2 links in the description for this video. One is to register for the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black Women. The other is a link to Dr. Kamani's YouTube channel. I don't want no confusion. Please sign up and register for this virtual summit, because if you know, like I know, y'all know, I started these conversations right after the results were made official in November. The writing is on the wall, y'all.
Yeah.
And this is not to fear monger at all.
It's reality, real talk.
It is inevitable. This is now about strategy. It's about mental wellness, and it's about future-proofing our lives. It's here. It's here. Things are happening. And if anyone has read, that manifesto project, you know what? we all know what the plans are. But if we properly prepare, if we properly strategize, and we get into community, we can save ourselves, right? And we can help to save others. And so this Job Liberation Summit is so on point, on time. Please do yourself a favor. And if you can, gift it to someone. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're at retirement. Maybe you're retired, but you have a daughter, you have a niece, you have someone going through the motions now of working, not knowing how secure. Well, we know the jobs aren't secure. Gift this to them. I'm telling you, this will be, I have a niece that this will be gifted to, simply because she has a young child now, right? And it's already gotten to the point now where she worked from home, but now they want everybody back in the office. They want to fill up them, expensive commercial property. And so now, maybe it's time. She's brilliant. She has a whole lot of creative outlets. Let's figure something out so you can liberate and raise your under 2-year-old son without having to worry about a babysitter, so it comes in all different. Job liberation looks different for different people. If you have someone that fits that bill, give them a registration. And I'm sure they can just use the person's email address, Dr. Kamani.
Yeah, that is correct.
Perfect.
That is correct.
Remember, it's a private summit. Nobody shows their face. Nobody shows their name. So you get
only the speakers.
Right. So you get the access without exposing yourself. So there's just a couple more comments, and then so many people, Miss P, so many people are terrified of losing their jobs and will sacrifice themselves for their jobs. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because life is meant to be so much more. And if you've ever lived in Europe, or if you've ever visited Europe and how they appreciate their 3-hour lunch siestas, where they go see abuela and abuelo, and then they go have lunch at the beach, like, they may work, but they also have a balanced life, right? Some places close down. There's this Argentinian restaurant not far, like a walking distance from me. They shut down from May through August every year and go back to Argentina and take 3 full months off, because that's their custom. That's what they do. And so Ms. P says, I refuse to be that fearful. I'm planning my work and working my plan to get ahead and regain freedom. You are helping me, and I am so grateful I found this community. Listen, this is divine work. And I do believe that once you get to where you want to be, you will share those gifts with others and let people know how to do it too. And that's what it's all about. Oh, hopefully, Cheryl, that means you registered, you're signed up for the summit. If you are, congratulations, and we will see you there. If you are not registered, go ahead and do it now. I'm going to let Dr. Kamani tell us one more time just the specifics about the summit. And you can register using my link, but what you can expect.
Yes. And I also see another comment too about the former president of Governors University, Dr. Green, just passed after a long illness.
Hey, Carla. Hey, Carla. Good to see you, Carla. Sorry.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah. So again, this news really highlights letting us, life is short. And really think about the life that you want for yourself, and thinking about if there's ways to help you get out, we're here to help you. Okay. So the second annual Job Liberation Virtual Summit starts May 16th, and it goes May 16th to the 18th. Okay. That's a regular pass. So the bonus with the bonus sessions, the Freedom All Access Pass, you get the 3 bonus sessions. So you have Jackie Abram talking about ways to survive a workplace, so that while you're working, you're still creating an exit plan, but what do you need to do to help you survive? And then you have Janice Sutherland talking to Black women over 50 about ways to pivot once you reach the age of 50. And then Dr. Roche Brown talking about how to create your financial exit plan, what to do about your retirement, what to do about your health insurance. So many speakers. so many Black women speakers sharing information about what to do about your mindset, what to do about your health, what to do about discrimination, what to do about replacing your income. So if the fear is about what am I going to do about, there's going to be so many Black women speakers sharing with you about what to do so that you can have your exit plan by the time you leave the summit. And you're in community with other Black women who are there to support you. Now, okay, your name won't be listed, your face, but in the chat, we're all supporting each other, okay? So utilize this and access this and know that our ancestors have gone through so much for us to not be in this situation, for us to know that we have agency and choices. We do. I know these are scary times. I know they are, okay? Yet, we cannot allow these times to make us freeze because nothing is stable right now. We need to be prepared. We need to be ready for whatever comes our way.
Yeah.
Be proactive, not reactive, okay?
I see Carla says, hey, Kim, you both. Thank you so much. I adore Dr. Kamani and her work. I know light is not heavy, but at the same time, Dr. Kamani, the fact that you are hearing these stories in real time, you are seeing the effects of what these jobs are doing to Black women.
Yes.
I commend you because that's a lot, right? That is a lot. You're a professional and I know, you know how to manage through it, but it's still, I keep you in prayer because I'm sure it's going to only ramp up and as people outreach to you. And so I, adore you and the work that you do.
And I love the work you do too, Kim. Let me say something else. Let me say something, because this is something that's been brought to my attention that I was not aware of previously. It has come to my attention that Black women have told me that they really appreciate my videos, but sometimes they cannot watch it. They avoid watching my videos because it's too painful for them. It's a painful reminder that they're in a toxic job and that they are remaining in a toxic job. So what I don't want for Black women is to hear this conversation and be so locked in by avoidance that they avoid coming to the summit because it's a painful reminder. Yes, coming to the summit is acknowledgement that you are in a situation you want to get out of, right? But avoiding coming to the summit doesn't take away that you're in a toxic job. Right. You will still be in a toxic job and you'll still be stuck. So don't let that prevent you. The thing about it too, we're talking about heavy stuff, but the summit, I'm telling you, the summit is fun. It's like a revival. Like we are coming together and we're pouring into each other. It is hype. It really is. So don't let the avoidance stop you. And just in terms of psychologically, avoidance can help us short term. So you can say, oh, that sounds good, whatever, but I don't want to think about that right now. Short term, that helps with your anxiety. Your anxiety goes down, right? Long term, it makes your anxiety last longer because now you realize I have done nothing. I'm not preparing myself for getting out the situation. So avoidance short term might help you, but long term, it's not going to help you.
And you can't avoid the inevitable, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're prepared for the inevitable, and I know it's easier said than done, right? Yeah. I do know some people, just like my brother, one of my brother's best friends, who was like a brother to me, he was severely obese. He used to be very football player, college, the whole nine, but became severely obese. Okay. And he needed to lose weight and he was ill and having all of these ailments. And the struggle was, instead of him trying to focus on losing 5 pounds a week, he was looking at the big picture. I need to lose 225 pounds. But they say the best way to eat an elephant, right, is one bite at a time. Like if you are in a place where it's painful for you, mm-hmm. the way to get out of that pain is first, like to acknowledge it and then take off, do like micro, have a strategy where you bite off just a little bit at a time, and you have a micro strategy so that you're not saying, well, I need to leave the job by next week or next month or even this year, but start planning, start getting in position so that when enough is enough, you're able to.
It's on your timeline. So nobody is saying you come to the summit and you got to sign a contract that you're going to leave the next week or next month. Nobody's saying that. It's on your timeline.
I appreciate that so much. And I always have so many more questions I want to ask you, but we will bring you back because I just think your responses and your answers are just what we need, just what this community needs. And I look forward to bringing you back after you have time to relax and rest from the summit. Again, the dates for the summit are May 16th through 18th, but there's some bonus sessions that Dr. Kamani mentioned. Don't wait till the last second to get your tickets, because some people also have like workbooks and downloads that you can access when you sign, or by you can start getting prepared so you're not waiting until the last minute. And again, I'm only supporting this and promoting this because I wholeheartedly believe in it. I've lived it. I am once again in a city that I love, that brings me peace, because I don't have to ask anybody for time off.
Right.
I will be here for a substantial amount of time. Well, at least a month before I come back in the fall. And I want that for all of us. I really do. If that's what you want. Right? If that's what you want, I want that for you. And this Job Liberation Summit, virtual summit for Black women, will help get you there. And so I thank you once again for everybody who joined tonight. I thank you, Dr. Kamani, for your insight, for your commitment to Black women, and for the lifting as we climb. Whole movement. Like that is so powerful and so necessary now. And I don't know if there's any last words that you have, but I want to just once again say thank you. And I look forward to being a part of this year's virtual summit.
Yes. Well, I want to say thank you, Gym Nation, for tuning in today. And thank you to Kim. I'm so honored that you have agreed to be a summit speaker. I was like, oh my God, I hope we can get Kim. I hope we can get Kim. So I'm so excited that you're going to be one of the speakers. And thank you for allowing me to be here in your space, in your community today.
Thank you. And I always forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Definitely follow Dr. Kamani's channel, and don't let fear and anxiety and depression about your current situation stop you from being about that action.
True.
Because again, you can't avoid the inevitable. And I would hate for you to avoid it or think you're avoiding it only for it to pop up some way that you're not prepared for. So at least get prepared. And I'll see you guys at the summit. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night, Gym Nation. Take care.